Alrighty, welcome back boys and girls. It's your main math man, Mr. Shane, coming to you live from Alameda International High School. And in this video, still working on some pyramids, but we're going to be kind of working specifically with these pyramids of Giza. So, you can make sure you're kind of piecing these together and trying to find out whether you're looking for the surface area, the volume, maybe both, or if you need to kind of set up the pyramid itself. So in number one, it says the pyramid of Menkaure has a height of about 215 feet and a square base with a side length of about 339 feet. What is its volume? So you can make sure you're kind of setting it up like this. We can kind of draw our pyramid if we need to, so that way we can base it together. So let's have something like that maybe. We're saying, okay, its height, again, make sure you're saying the height is perpendicular. Again, that's that point from the top to the center of the base. And if you need to trace the base, redraw the base on the side. Again, it says that it has a square base with a side length of 339. And the height is going to be, let's see, 215. Make sure you find first that area of the base, and so we can do a side length times itself. Since it's a square base, that means that this side is also 339, and so this area of the base, which we use and say big B, is going to be 1,000, let's say actually 100,000, so it's 100,000, 14 and 921. All right. And if you notice, actually too, we need to kind of figure out, well, what's going to be that slant height? And what I need is this. I need to kind of draw a right triangle. And if you need to, I can kind of have it like this. I'm going to say, all right, I have my right triangle. And I said it's going to be in the center, so that means I could take one of these side lengths. So I take 339 divided by 2. I'm going to say that this side length is going to be 169.5, and our height, which is going to be one of the legs, is going to be 215. And again, we're going to use that Pythagorean theorem to be able to solve for that slant height. So we're going to say this is going to be the slant height L is going to be our hypotenuse. So again, make sure you can set it up like this. I have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And so I can say, all right, I have 215 squared plus 169.5 squared equals L squared, which is going to be our slant height. So I can say, all right, I have 215 squared. Where's that at? There it is. It's going to be 46,225 plus, and I have 169.5 squared. Also a big number, but that's okay because we're taking the square root as our last step. So we have 0.25 equals L squared. Again, add these two together, so I can use those arrows, or arrow keys I should say. So I'm going to do plus this value, and we're gonna actually take the square root of that value. So I had these added together was 74,955.25 equals L squared, but I need to take the square root of both sides. That way I can get L by itself. So I'm going to say my slant height is going to be about 273 point, let's do 78 equals L. So that's going to be our slant height L. It's going to make sure you're using that formula for yourself. You can have that copy of the notes handy as well. So I'm looking at volume. So I'm going to say, all right, my formula for volume is going to be that area of the base times the height of pyramid times 1/3. That's the same as divided by 3 at the very end. So I didn't even really need that slant height, but that's okay. I needed it for this side as well. So I'm actually going to use this part on here, so that's okay. All right, so I have volume equals big B, which is the area of base, times the height divided by 3. plug in those values for our variables. So I have big B, which is 100,014, and then 921. Make sure you multiply by the height, which we said is 215, and divide by 3 at the very end. So we're going to take those values together like this. We're going to say our volume is all these numbers. So let's do 921. We have 215 and divided by 3. Again, I highly recommend dividing by 3 at the very end. That way you can kind of get that nice clean value. So we're going to say our volume for this pyramid is going to be this 8236005. Again, every 3 numbers is that place value column. And also too, we're going to say it's going to be, since we're talking about feet, we're going to be saying that's going to be feet cubed since it's our volume. So our volume for this pyramid is going to be 8,236,005 feet cubed. All right. For number 2, it's talking about that surface area. Again, I had kind of a pyramid drawn out. We have our big B. We have our slant height. So let's kind of have what we need. So I had my surface, let's do our labels first. So we had our slant height, L, was what we found. It was 273.78. We had our big B, which is the area of our base. We said that was 114,921. And then for the perimeter of base, P, make sure you add up all those sides. And so what I can do is I can do 4 times that 339. So that's going to be our perimeter of that square base. So make sure you can have your formula for yourself. So I'm going to say the surface area of that pyramid is going to be the slant height times the perimeter of the base divided by 2. Then we have plus the area of the base, which is big B. Substitute in those values for the variables. So I say surface area is going to be about, we have 273.78 times that 1,356, all divided by 2. And then we have plus that area of the base. It's good to make sure you can use those values carefully for yourself. So I have on the left side, multiply these together. And times 135, let's do 56. And divided by 2. And I can add this other value to it. So I have 114,921. So again, make sure you kind of see how I did it. I multiplied these first. So I said this was 185,622.84. And I added this together to it. And I said my surface area for this pyramid is going to be a large number. So 300,054 or 543.84. I can say that's going to be our feet squared since we're talking about surface area. All right, so again, make sure you can pause, rewind for yourself at that point in time. All right, so now as for number 3, scroll up just a little bit. So it has the pyramid of Khafre has a height of 448 feet and a base side length of 706 feet. Find the volume and surface area of this pyramid. All right, so we are going to kind of set it up like this. So kind of let me draw it out here. Again, we're going to say our height is, so we have H is 448. We need the square base. So we have a square base. Not perfect, but that's okay. Again, 706 is side length. So that means each of them are a side of 706. So I can find the area of that base. So we're going to say 706 times itself, 4 squared, is going to be the area. So our big B is going to be 498,436. Then we could say our perimeter is that side length times 4. So our perimeter of this base is going to be 2,824. And then what else do we need? need to find that slant height. So make sure you can kind of set up your right triangle like this. Gonna have, instead my height was 448. My point from the middle of the base to the side is going to be half of 706. So I divide that by 2. So that's 353. Again, make sure you draw that right triangle. Try to find that slant height. So when I say a squared plus b squared equals c squared, make sure you can plug in those two legs. So I have 448 squared plus the other leg squared is going to be my slant height squared. So you can use that calculator for yourself. So I have 448 squared, and I also have, so let's do it like this, 200,704 plus, we do 353 squared. Okay, we're trying to just solve that slant height. Again, use that Pythagorean theorem to be able to solve for that value using those right triangle skills. So again, I can do this number plus the other number together, and I can take the square root of that value to get my slant height. So I'm going to say my slant height L is going to be 570 point, and I'll do about 36. All right, so what else do I need? I'm looking for, so I have my slant height, I have my perimeter of the base, I have my area of the base, I have the height and slant height. So I should be good. So let's do those two things that we're looking for. So we have the, what was asking for first? Volume. So I do volume, area of the base times the height divided by 3. So we say volume is going to be the area of the base, 498,436, times the height, which was 448, divided by 3. Again, finding that volume of a large object. So we have 498,436, all divided by 3. So we're going to say our volume, pretty large number, but that's okay. Make sure it's on the screen. So we have volume is going to be equal to 744,33109. So let's have like this. So we have 74 million. Pretty large volume, as it is a pretty large object. Make sure you have those units up to the third power when you're talking about volume. Man. All right. Then as for that surface area, we could say surface area is equal to, let's do that slant height L times the perimeter of the base divided by 2 plus the area of the base. So we have surface area is equal to the slant height, which is, where do we find it? L. Where was L? There it is, right above there. So I have 570.36 times perimeter base, that 2,824, all divided by 2, and add that area of the base. So we did, make sure you can add that other large number. Again, a lot easier to kind of use that calculator to guide you to your right answer. Make sure I didn't miss any in there. Okay. So now I could get my calculator value. So I have the perimeter of the base times the slant height, or sorry, the slant height times the perimeter base, and then divided by 2. And then I can add the area of the base to get my surface area. So 498,436 to get my surface area. So I'm going to say the surface area for this one is going to be equal to, we have 130,378.4.32. So we're going to say that's going to be feet squared for that one. So the main difference between these two, make sure you can have your surface area.
Up in here? No? No?
Okay, good talk. Make sure you can see the difference between those two amounts. So we're going to say our units for volume to the third power. Our units for surface area is to the second power. For the number 4, it says Great Pyramid of Khufu, and you found out from that last notes problem, found out that's the greatest of those 3. So it gives us the volume, and it says it has base side length of 756 feet. What is going to be the height of that pyramid? So we're trying to say, all right, what is going to be the height? So how do we set this up? So we could say volume equals the area of the base. So we make sure you can solve for the area of the base. Let's do, so we have area of the base times h divided by 3. Make sure you do 756 squared. So that's going to be our big B. So a big B is 571,536. Make sure you can have and plug in those values. So I'm going to have my volume. So I have, this is going to be a large number equals, and then I have other large number 571,536 times h, because that's the unknown, all divided by 3. So what I can do is this, I can kind of take this divided by 3, and then I'm going to divide both sides by that. So I have, let's do 571,536 divided by 3. So I'm going to take and divide both sides by this value. So I have 86700. Very large value for that volume, but that's okay. You can make sure you plug in those values carefully. And then I have 19,0512 times h. That's what you divide by to both sides. So I have 190512 both sides. So let's do what it has. So 867 2, 3, 4, 5 divided by that value we found. So instead of typing it, I can use those arrow keys, divide it out. And so this is going to be the height that we found. So we said the height, so we're going to say h, our height, is going to be about 455.09, and then we'll say feet. All right. And then it says, what's that surface area? So we kind of have all those things we need. So let me actually kind of break it apart here. So we have the height, we have the area of the base, and I'll do it separately.